NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Welcome to NewsBiscuit, the UK's original fake news. NewsBiscuit, putting a 100% tariff on being funny. I'm your host, Wrenfoe, and I'm joined by the three frontrunners to be the next Pope. BillClay.
Hi there.
HardBoiled.
Hello.
And Chipchase.
Bless you, my son.
Good effort.
This month sees Russia and Ukraine's ceasefire, provided you ignore all the bombs and bullets. Katy Perry goes into space in order to find a moral vacuum. And the Supreme Court finally rules on whether biological women think their dress is gold or blue. And that brings us to our first round user brief, where our panelists select their favourite headlines. Hard-boiled, we're going with you first.
The next Pope to be chosen by Simon Cowell.
Yes, they've been on BBC website, haven't they, trying to explain to us how selecting popes work, and it does seem desperately sort of convoluted.
You're telling me that they don't just press a golden buzzer and the black smoke comes out?
No. They have that special chair, though. Do you know about the chair where they check the genitals?
Yes, I've heard about this.
That one's great, isn't it? Because there once was an English
Female.
pope, and it was a female one, and so ever since that's their way of. I imagine this is how they're going to do sort of trans toilets now. From now on, since the Supreme Court's ruling, there'll be a special chair, and a cardinal will come in and tell you which loo to use.
New colour nobody has ever seen before. Turns out to be puce.
Oh, yes, scientists have discovered a new colour. This is what we're told. But when you read into the article, the new colour turns out to be bluish green. And I'm like going, I know what bluish green is. I mean, the whole idea of this new colour is this a new colour that we can't see. I can definitely see bluish green.
The printer runs out of magenta.
Yeah. They've just discovered another shade of paint, haven't they? It's not a new colour. I'm not entirely sure I understand it. But
What does this come from the back of the fact that scientists say that purple doesn't exist? It's a colour that we've made up. Is that what we're talking about there?
Purple doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's basically it's not a real colour on the spectrum.
Well, tell that to my penis.
Yes. You should see a doctor, Red.
Yeah. So, okay, what do bishops wear then? Are they naked? Okay, carry on. I'm learning so much. Or am I? I don't know if any of this is true. Are we on to True Biscuit now? Right, okay, carry on.
Harry Potter and the trans character who meets an unnecessarily grisly death.
Yeah, this week the Supreme Court ruled that biological women are biological women and nobody else is. I don't think this has kind of put the issue to bed even slightly, and everyone seems to have been very sort of mean and unpleasant off the back of it as well. J.K. Rowling, of course, leading the charge by just kind of trolling the entire world. It's a tricky thing, this, because I'm of the opinion that Supreme Courts are a little bit risky. You don't really want Supreme Courts weighing in and actually defining stuff too often. It's like if you ask the Supreme Court, I'm an atheist, right? But I don't want the Supreme Court to rule on whether there's a God or not, because they'll take Christmas away from me, and I like presents.
You basically get America when the Supreme Courts weigh in on everything.
Yeah, and that's where you get guns in America, don't you? Yeah. Because it becomes codified and you're kind of stuck with it. But there was a great video online, and it's the MP, Dawn Butler, and some shadow minister, what have you. And Dawn Butler was kind of making the point, which is actually a very sensible point, saying, well, okay, this, in terms of kind of toilet use and what have you, this now means that trans women can't use the toilets for women. But then the expectation then is, she said, that trans men will be going now into the toilets with women. And this kind of shadow minister, you could see in his head for the first time, he was going, there are trans men. And then she made the point then. She went, and it also means it's very easy then for biological men to imitate trans men in order to get into women's toilets. And the camera cuts this guy's face, and I'm not exaggerating, there's about 10 seconds of silence where you can see the little cogs in his head working for the first time, and it's sort of like, I had not thought about this. And you go, yeah, you hadn't thought about this, had you? There are repercussions. But it's a very, very funny video. And someone's done the Curb Your Enthusiasm music at the end of it as well, which is the chef's kiss to the moment.
US trade deal will require UK to accept horrible American food.
American Chinese takeaway comes in those nice little square box type things.
Yeah.
We don't get them, do we?
No, we don't. We just get plastic containers and stuff like that.
I don't think it's worth a trade deal, but you know.
I remember watching it. I remember watching old American sort of detective thing. I think it was the Rockford Files, which probably dates me. And he came in carrying a pizza box, and I thought, wow, the ultimate in sophistication that is. Why don't we get those here?
So what we're saying then, BillClay, is we're saying that we're quite happy for the UK's car manufacturing to get tanked in a trade deal, provided we get Chipchase's pizza boxes and your Chinese square.
I think that seems fair.
Good trade-off, that.
Excellent.
Rummy's no longer sure which day is bin day.
Ongoing bin strike
Birmingham?
in Birmingham. They're getting pretty big rats up there at the moment, I hear.
Biggest dogs, you know.
Biggest dogs.
Biggest dogs, according
Maybe
to
they
the
just got,
tabloids.
but they might have very small dogs though. A lot of
Yeah, they
people
might-
there's
Chihuahuas.
there's little yappy type dogs that people carry around with them. I think
Yeah.
that's odd carrying a dog.
don't
It's
know.
like if you had a giraffe with you, but you're the one who has to look over the fence. You're going, no, this is the wrong way round. Surely this is your job.
Birmingham Council's latest pay offer is rubbish.
Birmingham rubbish strike, now a major bin incident.
And you're proud of that, are you, Chip?
Well, it wasn't mine, you know.
Oh, it wasn't yours. Slopey shoulders, Chipchase. All of a
I'm
sudden.
That was what it was my fault,
whatever.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Don't shoot me, I'm only the messenger.
Yeah. Wasn't my penis, Your Honour. Okay, Chipchase, over to you.
Tories ditch green targets to make themselves more unelectable.
I'm not sure what the Tories'
think they are either.
strategy is these days.
Neither do they. No.
No, they haven't got a Scooby.
It does seem to be just to be slightly annoying and unpleasant, which was always their vibe. But they'd usually throw something in with, like, I know, low taxes or.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry. Are we speaking about politicians possibly not having a clue and chatting absolute bollocks?
Yes. That's
yes,
it.
I think
Yes.
it's yes. Yeah, you
Yes,
cut
we
to
are.
that.
Surprise, yeah.
Well, I mean, all the current polls, and of course, take it with a pinch of salt and blah, 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 and it's not an election year or anything, but they all put Reform well ahead of the other parties at the moment. So that's how low we've sunk. Because it's not like, I mean, I've spoken to Reform voters. I know Reform voters, yeah. And they all quite happily admit that, you know, Nigel Farage is an absolute chancer and cannot be trusted one whit. You know, they say that themselves. But their point being is, yeah, but that's better than the other ones. And you're going, oh God, you might even be right. How terrible is that?
Yeah.
An horrendous person like Nigel Farage might be. And it's not even a phrase like less of the evils. He's just
Yeah.
rubbish. And the others
The
are
other
like,
evil.
yeah. Right.
Mexican cartels switched to smuggling eggs into the US. Like a dozen eggs was up to like $20 or something crazy like that. Stopped the baking cakes, didn't it?
Yeah, what are you going to throw at politicians when you run out of eggs?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate my politicians, and I will
Can't afford that kind of hate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, if Keir Starmer was walking past me right now, I'd be like, oh, I'd so egg you if I'd go get a second job to pray for the egg, but
Available in the food bank to throw.
Just go back to an old-fashioned brick. It's cheaper.
Yeah. Okay.
What else have we got?
Spotify pays out $7.7 billion, mostly to its shareholders.
Have they had to do a big payout then recently, Spotify?
Well, yeah, but it's the problem is they don't pay artists very much. You have to be sort of Rihanna or somebody like that, having 6 billion, squillion, dillion,
Yeah.
quintillion downloads there in 10 quid, whereas a sort of starving musician gets a quarter of a farthing for every 2,000 downloads they get.
Well, saying that, though, I do want my musicians to be starving.
Yeah,
Because
keeps them keen, doesn't
Well,
it?
that's it. Historically speaking, all the best music is created by starving musicians.
Yeah,
It's the moment they get complacent and get a mansion that the albums get a bit shit.
Well, and I think obviously Spotify have based their business model on, you know, the water companies, haven't they?
What,
You know,
just
like-
pumping out lots of shit?
Man giving Blue Bottle 10p to go away is charged with fly tipping.
Very good.
Toddler refusing nap time, charged with resisting arrest.
Yeah, it's funnier if you read it, but yeah, we get it.
Yeah. I did think that's that. Yes, exactly.
BillClay.
Distracted mechanic loses focus. Editor admits being fair to Starmer was a moment of madness.
Being fair to Keir Starmer. I don't want to be fair to Keir Starmer. I can't stand him.
Well, they've been punished, whoever the newspaper editor was.
I mean, it is curious, isn't it? I mean, he is one of those unifying figures that you occasionally get throughout history. Universally disliked. So, but the tricky thing is about that is that anything now he does that's even moderately okay, I think, you know, most people are going, no, shut
No,
up.
not enough.
Yeah, winter fuel allowance, genocide, shut the fuck up. And we'd make that assumption regardless of evidence, just because we think that's the kind of thing he'd do.
I assume that already, personally.
Yeah.
And he's a total charisma-free zone, isn't he?
Yes, he doesn't help himself, does he?
Charisma void, really.
Yeah.
Cthulhu sues Trump for copyright infringement.
I think that's a bit harsh on Cthulhu, because I feel Cthulhu has like quite a structured plan about how he's going to bring about the end of times. But I think with Trump, it's much more sort of free-form jazz. But yeah, I
thought Trump was just following the same line that Hitler had, and just kind of going, I'm just going to do that, but in a fun way.
So for you, he's fun Hitler. I've never heard him described like that. But
he's one of those. Well, Trump is one of those who I feel like, his mouth is speaking so slowly that it's trying to catch up with his brain, and it never actually does.
No, it never does. What strikes me about Trump is that he speaks an infantile language.
It would be interesting to get a child to read his speeches.
Yeah, it would sound more coherent.
Anyone pays attention.
I thought it was a child who wrote them.
Yeah.
Well, no, he wouldn't listen to anyone that smarter than him.
Look at you all being so dismissive and superior and liberal.
Yeah.
He's president. You're not. You three are appearing on NewsBiscuit right now.
Yeah.
That's where all your GCSEs and your A levels got you.
I know my place.
Yeah.
Liberal elite, we are.
Trump,
We're the
he's
liberal
having
elite.
sex with goats in the White House, and he's laughing at you now with his simplified, childlike laughter.
Oh no, he's thinking of me while he's doing it. Oh, come on.
Who doesn't? That's the only way I maintain an erection these days.
I'm in the process of doing a screen grab as we speak.
Yes, and if any of our listeners at home would like images of BillClay, in order to just get them through those more difficult moments, we'll provide them. Yeah, that was weird. We were just talking about Keir Starmer. See, there you go. That's how boring Keir Starmer is. We've had to digress into fantasizing about BillClay.
God, that is desperate.
Our next round is True Biscuit, where our panel has to guess which is a real headliner, which is a fake one. Chipchase, let's start with you.
The sun makes a sound like a pot of boiling water.
As in, like the big fiery ball.
The big yellow thing we don't see too much of.
Oh, not the scurrilous newspaper that lies.
No.
Because I think that theirs is more like a kind of evil cackle.
Like a witch stirring the...
Yeah. So when the universe comes to an end, is it like tea's ready? Is it like, do we get like a little ping sound at the end and then...
Like a little whistling kettle affair.
And we're like, oh! And we discover all it was, the cosmic thing, was God just making a cup of tea. How is this being measured, by the way? How are we measuring this? Has someone heard it?
It's your scientists, mate, they've been researching it.
I'm just suggesting this, and it might not be true, but I'm
next
wondering
door to the kitchen.
Well, that's it. I'm thinking these scientists were on a lunch break. They were standing, as HardBoiled suggests, they were next to the kettle. And
a scientist has been doing it really, like with a high-powered, microphone and pointing at the sun. But then his mate's just there, like, oh, this will get him boiling the kettle.
Well, the problem is you can't try too many times to get microphones on the sun; they keep melting. So they had to do it another way. Well, yeah, that's a good idea. They could do it.
Yeah, because it's colder at night, the sun, isn't it? They switch it off. You're right. Yeah. That's right. That's from our science editor, BillClay. That is genuine information.
Best kettle noises, album 6.
Yeah, but they weren't paid very much for it.
I feel I should have either studied more at school or studied less. If I studied less, I really wouldn't care. We can end this now.
My scientific knowledge on this one is being based off of aliens. You can't be heard screaming in space, so therefore I'm going with fake. Just based on that.
Again, for our science editor, good solid knowledge. Anything that's in aliens is definitely true.
100%.
It's true.
Is it?
It is true, yeah.
Check it again. Were they British scientists, by the way?
I can't say actually.
Because I think
I could say if I knew, but I don't know.
Because a scientist choosing to use kettles being boiled as their metric of measurement suggests a slight British bias. Another nation might say, well, it's very much like this kind of machinery working or what have you. Go, well, no, we're measuring it in tea.
Well, what we do, and of course, our other unit of measurement is the size of Wales, isn't it?
The sound of Wales. The country. Size of Wales. I thought the sound of Wales. Yeah. The country. Well, it's a singing kind of. That's right. Everything is the size of Wales. You're right.
Yeah. They don't have kettles often in America anyway, do they? It's all coffee and stuff.
Well, they microwave the water and then put the bag in. It's just disgusting. Yeah.
Do they do that kind of
stuff? Yeah, they don't don't own kettles. It's not a thing.
No.
I know.
Oh no. I thought the gun thing was bad enough, but they're not owning kettles.
Yeah. Well, that's
Oh.
why I think they deserve guns, so they can shoot
Well,
themselves
I
after not
mean,
owning
just
kettles.
seriously, this whole sort of democracy and freedom thing that they got and independence, it
They
hasn't worked.
they had a go, didn't they?
It hasn't worked out for them.
No.
If you can't master basic tea, it's like the Boston thing when they chucked it all in the water. You're like, no, what are you doing?
That was them trying to make tea.
Tea. Oh, the madness. The amount of milk they had to chuck in to the Atlantic just
One
to get a
sugar.
decent.
Stir it all up.
BillClay, what have you got?
To avoid prison, a former reality TV star has been elected as leader of a country for the second time.
Well, I assume this is a veiled reference to Trump, but
Well, I can't neither confirm nor deny.
I mean, to be
Donald.
honest, it's a technique that's been used multiple times. I mean, Berlusconi in Italy,
Yeah.
he was constantly getting elected and sort of circumventing all kinds of kind of criminal proceedings and the like.
Good method if it works.
Yeah, but they do tend to still nab you the moment you step out of office. So is it?
If you leave office.
Ah, yes. Yeah, play the long game. Yeah, it's true. He occasionally trolls, doesn't he? Trump that suggests Trump 2028, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You heard it. You heard it here first.
Technically against the American Constitution, but whatever.
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
What's that?
yeah, stuff like that's meant to be broken anyway. And people get around that because, of course, when you think about it with American presidents, if Bush figure or whoever it is or Clinton, the moment they've done their 2 terms, they hand it to their wife or their child. It's more like a monarchy in America.
It's been very few different surnames in presidents in the last few years.
I mean, the Kennedys tried it a few times, but obviously
what happened then?
we sensibly shot them all before they could get on the ballot.
Apart from the recent one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. He's got a little job. Yeah.
Making lists.
Word is Don Jr.'s being groomed for it.
Chipchase, what have you been grooming him for? You're not allowed to do that.
I mean, there's a whole list of crimes. If
Go then. Give us some of the other crimes.
Obviously there's racketeering, financial fraud, election interfering, attempted murder by trying to trick people to drink bleach. There's a whole host.
And am I right in saying
Who
that
could it be? God.
the American Constitution, it does protect the president from being prosecuted for quite a few things while they're in office, and I think they've been looking recently to extend it beyond office. You're right. And I guess if you're in charge of it all, you are technically making the rules. I think people are a bit surprised by that when I'm not saying Trump is Hitler or anything like that, but when like a Hitler figure comes along and goes, right, now I'm in charge, I'm going to do what I want, and everyone's like, oh shit, didn't know you could do that. You go, yeah, I'm in charge.
If only someone had said something.
Yeah, what did you think?
Like I said, fun Hitler.
Fun size Hitler.
Not his way, no.
Obviously, this is true, but then is this a piece of satire that someone's written on the site? This is a true thing, or is this a
let's
true
go with
made
it.
up thing?
Go
Hard-boiled.
true.
Got to be true.
Yeah, indeed.
Shocker. Hard-boiled, what's your story?
After J.D. Vance visits the Pope, Buckingham Palace organised for his trip to visit Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, wasn't it? J.D. Vance, the day before the Pope
day
died,
before the
met
Pope
him.
died.
And then to sort of add insult to whatever, he went online and then said, I'm praying strongly for the Pope's good health, which either proves the non-existence of God straight there, or it certainly shows that JD is not in God's good books because his prayers were not listened to, unless God decided it was a mercy killing. The Pope suffered enough. He's met JD Vance.
Yeah. To be fair, I think anyone meets J.D. Vance is enough.
That's how I figured it. Yeah.
So it's 1-1 with trust now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she killed the Queen, didn't she?
Yeah, a meet and yeet.
Put those two in a room and see who comes out.
Yes. Who sucks the other one's soul?
Soul. Sorry. What?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
With an S. Yeah.
He is being sent out to meet other people, though. That's one of the roles of the vice president. You are supposed to go around and meet lots of people and shake hands, and they're supposed to go.
Grinning.
Yeah, you're supposed. Oh, brilliant, vice president. Great. Quite a passive aggressive thing, isn't it? To send the vice president to meet someone. It's like we're acknowledging that you exist, but we're not sending
You're not
anyone
worth
of
the
any
effort.
significant.
Yeah.
No.
Not really worth the effort.
Yeah, it's like so you invite round someone's house and you knock on the door and it's opened by like a small chimp, and the chimp says everyone's out, come in, sit down, and you go in, but you're going, I'm sitting here with this is Chimp's tea party, isn't it? And the chimp's looking at you going, yeah, it is,
Yep.
yeah, it is, mate.
So you've been to Neverland Ranch then?
Yes, yeah. And then with the vice president visits as well, then how do you get out of it? I mean, once they're there, you're just sort of counting down the minutes, aren't you? You're trying to find excuses to leave the room. And how do you make small talk with a vice president? Have you done much recently? Well, no, I'm a vice president.
My suit?
Yeah. I've literally done nothing. You're just waiting for your boss to die, aren't you? Yes, that is solid. I suppose in that
we
sense,
all are, to be fair.
Well, yes. Spoiler for anyone who's a line manager out there.
Got to be true, I think.
What? Because everyone hates Harry and Meghan so much? Harsh.
No, sorry, I was forgetting. No, this is not true.
Not true.
In the context of this competition show thing we're doing here,
you're all over the place.
I haven't lost me. I'm totally lost. I haven't got a clue what's going on.
Right.
Can I just head for a bit?
Nurse, Chipchase down his bed again. Everyone's back in.
Yeah.
I think this is a NewsBiscuit story. I think
this is false.
Told ya.
Yeah. In a roundabout way, Chipchase.
Yeah, sort of.
Right. It's back around to you again then, Chipchase. What have you got?
Oh my
What's your
God,
other
I've
one?
got two. Look, good job. I sort of semi-prepared another one.
I don't want to know about your semi. Right. Tell us about the story.
Here's one for the football fans amongst us. Football teams playing in red really do play better.
Well, that's not true because Man United is shit.
Man City then versus Man U.
But then, light blue is not a real colour, though, is it?
No, zero.
Purple.
The Man City kits, what you get is when you wash your Tottenham kit and your Everton kit together by accident, and then you're like, shit, we're gonna have to make up a team now.
That's basically how they came about. Yeah.
I mean, is it just simply because there's an awful lot of teams that play in red?
Well, no, this is based on a sample of 55 years showed teams wearing red kit.
How do you do a double-blind test though in football?
I don't know.
Did they put a bell in the ball, don't they?
That'd be great.
I take it that they've only been doing this since colour TV was around.
Yeah.
Because grey was actually the most successful colour before.
Yeah. When I used to watch, when Spurs were a successful team, I always watched them.
I mean, you say Spurs, but I mean, I imagine the data on this was completely skewed by teams like Spurs being so shit at winning stuff in the last 20, 30 years. Have they kind of at least disregarded those statistical outliers where Spurs can't win a final and just gone, that doesn't count? Because if Spurs is in the mix, it's going to make all the numbers look crazy.
So you're trying to say that Spurs are going to change their kit to red next season?
A phenomenon called dopamine dressing. And dopamine dressing is what you're wearing affects how others perceive you. We see a doctor in a white coat and we think, he knows what he's doing.
But if one turned up in a drenched red surgical gown,
you're right.
I would not
think that is a successful doctor.
Yeah, so does it apply to other walks of life? So if I turn up at work tomorrow all dressed in red head to toe, am I going to get a promotion? Or...
Certainly.
It really does depend on the job here.
I'm going to go with true.
Yeah, true.
True. We think this is true then, Chipchase. Is it true?
Well, yes, it is true. It's your science. It's your science. You can't thwart science.
I think tennis players are missing a trick.
Yeah.
Can you imagine rocking up at Wimbledon?
Red.
Also, if it's only 55 years, I mean, tell us that in a billion years' time when they've got more data to look at.
God, you've got confidence on the Premiership.
Yeah.
You've got the Premiership outlasting the Earth.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, thank you for that. BillClay.
Belgian festival goers are furious that the government has banned an ancient tradition which involves drinking from a goblet of wine that contains live fish.
What, goldfish? What sort of fish does it specify?
Festival? What is it, like a music festival?
Oh, it's a weird ancient festival from 1413 involving druids.
I've got a few mates who went to medical school, and I'm sure they did the same ritual themselves as swallowing goldfish. But we're saying it dates back to some ancient druidical Belgium thing.
Well, other druid festivals are available, but in this particular one...
Now, I consider myself to be a bit of an expert, actually, when it comes to sort of Belgium druids, because I've read all of the Asterix and Obelix books multiple times as a kid. And I don't remember any fish drinking. They had magic potions, but they didn't have fish in them.
Were they battered first?
Well, that'd be ridiculous.
What are you talking about, HardBoiled?
There were banners afterwards.
Just drink your raw fish. Grateful.
And you'll like it.
And why is it banned though? Because I mean, if they've been doing hundreds of years and
Well,
everyone's called for it.
it's animal cruelty. The ban, which came into effect this summer, has sparked fury among traditionalists who took to the streets this weekend waving placards reading, "I want fish."
What do you want? Fish? When do we want it? Right now?
Yeah, but that kind of implies they'll be happy with any fish then, and then we're back to hard boils like something battered. Well, people in Belgium are odd. We've established that in previous episodes.
Yeah.
That's why I think this country was chosen. Yep.
Yeah, that's why people keep invading it. I mean, I think they made the mistake of advertising that they're eating little fish. I think if they kept quiet about it, I think nobody would be any the wiser.
So what's this? It's wine with slivers of carrot in it.
Yeah.
Nobody be any the wiser, would they?
Oh, trick. That's the vegetarian festival down the road.
Still, if they want a kind of high risk thing, they should just drink sort of goblets of water from a British stream. You're going to get all sorts in there.
I'm going to take a risk. Yeah, go on. Let's say it's true.
True.
It is true.
Does this festival have any other weird stuff they're doing, or is it just the wine and the fish?
I think that was the headline, to be fair. And the other
But
details.
then if that's the whole festival and that's like the main bit of the festival's now ruined. You can't recreate the magic of eating raw fish.
Somebody else pulled that trick before, didn't they, with loaves and fishes.
That's true.
Yeah.
How did that pan out?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, this explains why Trump is not interested in buying Belgium. Let's put it that way.
Yes, people in Greenland would never do this. What's it like? What's it like for a fish? I'm just curious. You guys won't know the answer because you're all idiots. But what's it like for a fish to swim in wine? Does a fish get drunk? Can a fish swim in any? Can a fish swim and survive in any fluid?
Well, can it
Salt water and freshwater it can't. So does alcohol cause a problem?
Well, my mum used to say that my aunt drank wine like a fish, so I'd suggest no.
Okay, thanks for that. And hard-boiled. What have you got?
RFK's list of autistic Americans sends Senkos in Britain into panic mode.
Oh, God, this is awful.
Yeah, he's... I mean...
Yes, because nothing bad has ever happened from a government legislative making a list.
Not at all.
The thing is, it's hard. I've seen lots of interviews with the guy, and at his heart, I think he comes across as relatively genuine in that he's worried about things and he wants to know about things, and he seems to have a certain amount of knowledge, but not a lot of knowledge. No. It means he's sort of grasping around at every conceivable straw, and I guess Lord Big Numbers might grasp the right one now and again, but you do also go, I'm not sure all of this is scientific, and
it's him saying, autism is curable. I'm like, well, maybe it is, but should it be? Then you get into
he's classing it as a disease and
murky waters.
That's it.
It's just not
waters.
He's
Well, I think the test of it actually is the moment. I suspect, because if he's like the rest of his family, the moment he actually hits upon the truth of something, he'll be shot. That's when you know he's really onto something. You go, that was the. So at the moment he's alive and well, and so you go, no, actually he's probably well off it. It's that old game that you play as a kid. You're getting warmer, you're getting colder, you're colder. It's the amount that Kennedys get shot at is the closer they get to the power and the truth and who's manipulating it all. So he's fine so far. So I think he's well off whatever he's trying to find out.
Maybe it's just a revenge tactic because they found out that maybe he's trying to think that who shot JFK.
Lee Harvey Oswald. Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly, saying that he was autistic. So
you forget his name, but I always go, when everyone asks me, my brain immediately goes, "Oh, it's Oswald Mosley," because he's the only other Oswald I know.
He's just saying Oswald, yeah.
And then I have to go, no, not that one. Are there any other Oswalds in life?
Copperpot, but that's a Batman thing.
It's not a name that's done well.
There's Oswald Thistle somewhere up north, isn't there, in Yorkshire?
You're talking about some random guy you've met. Chipchase doesn't count.
Dave Oswald. And
no. I'm talking about famous people, not someone you've had tea with once.
He's all right. What's the matter with him? Yeah.
BillClay, is this true or false?
I want it to be false.
I guess it's unfortunately true.
Oh, yeah, the gentlemen are right. Unfortunately, true.
And finally, we reach the magic 8 ball.
The magic 8 ball.
Each of our guests is going to give us their predictions for next month's news.
Pope Mania 2025, 100 bishops enter and only one leaves. How the Pope is chosen. Vatican TV, pay-to-view, promo code White Smoke.
Trump decrees all books he can't read to be burned. Therefore, national libraries go up in flames.
As sales of turntables and vinyl continue to surge, one cinema chain announces a rollout of new Magic Lantern Theatre.
Right. And that brings us to the end of this episode. And I can reveal this month's winner is Jesus for being the only head of the Catholic Church to remember to get resurrected at Easter. Too soon? And I'd like to thank HardBoiled,
Thank you.
BillClay,
Thank you.
and Chipchase.
Dominus Vobiscum.
What's that about biscuits?
Yeah, biscuit.
I know what a biscuit.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is
That's
in
what I
Latin,
heard.
but something biscuit.
Yeah,
Lovely.
Yeah, biscuit. Yeah, true biscuit.
And I leave you with these headlines. Seance meeting was described as all fingers and thumbs. Hooters restaurant feeling the squeeze and goes tits up. And Hornby announced its Clockwork train section to be wound up.
You've been listening to NewsBiscuit, free to read and free to write for. We accept submissions from any budding satirist, young or old. Visit newsbiscuit.com to submit headlines, stories, and to support new writers.
NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Well, that was one of the headlines on BBC website, was that they'd had one which said, choice of next pope is in God's hands, says Morna. I was like, well, duh.
But there must be a time when the Almighty starts talking to you and saying, you're next, mate.
Well, that was it. I mean,
Like a Tory party, a couple of,
Yeah.
on
Well,
the-
it's the same thing. My nan used to do that to me at weddings. You're next. So I started doing the same thing to her at funerals.
To be Pope. She just tell you, you're going to tell you she'd be next to the funeral's nice.
Hey, go put a tenner on that for us. Put a tenner on it.
But yeah, what would happen if you're in the conclave and all the bishops are gathered there and you just suddenly stand up, and whether this is true or not, you just suddenly declare, God just spoke to me. He says,
Yeah.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
As another cardinal, would you feel confident contradicting that? Do you stand up and go, bollocks, God doesn't exist. You're lying. And then you're like, shit, what have I said?
Yeah.
The cat's out the bag.
Or
And
you just
then-
double down and just be
Yeah.
like, no, he spoke to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did he sound like? And they went,
Yeah.
he's got
Boiling
brother-
kettle.
Yeah, boiling kettle.